Well, hello again, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of Waterboro. This is No Way Out Radio, and well, a lot of people on my podcast, they know me as No Way. Uh, but you may know me as the one that they all love to hate. But hey, I'm used to it. But before I talk a little bit about this budget and the problems with it and the problem with the message that's always brought forth, one thing I want to address. Down here, Eco Maine warns public. Towns may start paying a price for sloppy recycling. What's going on here, ladies and gentlemen? And yes, the local liberal far left propaganda newspaper. So I won't click on the article because it's so full of bias, it's pathetic. What's going on here is we know that our governments have been selling out, our federal government has been selling out to China. Well, believe it or not, our recyclables go to China to be recycled. Now, China doesn't want the plastic bags because you can't recycle the plastic garbage bag. And now China is being stuck with tons of plastic bags. So now, if the recycling shows up in China in a plastic bag, you're getting charged as rubbish by the ton. So the problem here is because now what's happening in Waterboro, and I know firsthand, and I'm not going to say here on this why I know and how I know, but I know firsthand. Our overpriced unionized school system that is demanding your kids accept 66 genders when God only created 2 are getting all these rewards for recycling, right? Well, the thing is nobody seems to want to tell the school that they have to stop putting their recycling in the plastic bags because when their recycling shows up at our transfer station doesn't put it in the recycling, they put it in the landfill, regular household rubbish trash, because the school system won't stop putting it in plastic bags. So you see how our school systems that are indoctrinating our children, and here again demanding $8.5 million for our portion of a $41 million budget to indoctrinate our kids into guns are bad, conservatives need to go, God doesn't exist, there are 66 genders, and they're telling 3-year-olds, well, it doesn't matter. If you don't feel like a little girl, then you don't have to be a little girl. Who tells a 3-year-old that, a 4-year-old that? And yes, the parents are at fault. We have an elementary school teacher that, in my opinion, is abusing her child because her child is scared to death to go to school every day because little boys are looking at me. And she needs counseling because little boys are looking at her. Where is she getting this? She's getting this from the parent who, in my opinion, is abusing this child, implanting this fear that is not reality. But that's for another show. Trust me, and it's coming. But here, it's our school that is causing the problem in this town. They're getting awards for recycling, but they're not recycling. It's going into regular household trash. So this is a lie. This is another deception told to you by the people claiming to be a fiscal conservative and a town administrator that told me in an unsolicited email, which I took it as just harassment anyway, that he's a devout Christian. But he'll allow this kind of lie to be put forth to you. And of course, our grand new charts, beautiful new charts. $11.1 million coming from taxation. This is for the town and the school. The school gets 8.563 million, and this year will be 57%. Last year it was 74%. And there's more to that story than meets the eye. And I'll point that out in a minute. What they've done here with the town to make everything look a little bit more balanced, because of, people calling out these school systems, which now James O'Keefe and Project Veritas is perfectly pointing out what we've been saying right along, that the 5 perverts and child molesting pedophiles that have been taken out of our Massabesic high school, and it's all been swept under the rug. These teachers are still given they still seem to keep their big elaborate pensions and Cadillac healthcare plans, and the public sector has protected themselves just like the town does, with a 2.5% pay increase every year. And that's okay. If you don't want to take our insurance that we offer, that's okay. We're charging the taxpayers $385,000 this year for our health insurance, and we'll give you a nice little chunk of money to spend on doctor's appointments. Because the union set it up. We don't have a union, but the union set it up. Thanks. Thanks for just being a union member in a non-union shop. Boy, amazing how the truth comes out, right, Gary? But I digress. As you see right here, this green section up here on this top graph, this green section is municipal services. And that's where our now county tax is. It's hidden in here. This 8% up here, this 1.298 million, is the fire department and all their elaborates. Now the big one, roads, trash, and buildings. See this right here? 2.353 million. It's more than the municipal services with the county tax involved. Why? Because this is the corruption that has plagued this town for decades. This is what we want to tear down. This is what we want to destroy, because it's not being done properly and with the right way, and it's basically a slush fund for the buddy-buddy system. In the attack hate email that came from Gary Lamb to me a few years ago, I mentioned it was time to get out from underneath Doug Foglio's grasp. And the millions of dollars in time that's going to be spent on the old Alfred Road, that's already been spent on the old Alfred Road for the same problem that's not being addressed. But that's what's going on in here. Foglio's now gone. He quit. And now I'm sure the town's going to be in a big world of hurt unless they turn and get Foglio to come back for $1 million a year? Yeah. Trust me. The fiscal conservatism that Gary Lamb, the town administrator, speaks of, he's far from it. He doesn't understand it. Trust me. Propaganda runs deep in this town hall, and it's all about deception and lies, and I know. I sat in that town hall for 6 years on the Zoning Board of Appeals, with a zoning ordinance that was so corrupt and illegal. It was pathetic. And now we got one of Gary Lamb's special projects that came from another town that, well, does nothing for preserving the town of Waterboro the way the people wanted, but it's everything so those that want to destroy and pad their pockets can. So, what's going on here with this, ladies and gentlemen? This is the new graph. Why I say the 57%, which last year was 74%, and this year with this, with the 4% for the county added into the town, why this deception and what the problem is comes from what we see here. This is the old Alfred Road thing, but we'll come back to that. I want to come down here to the last page. On this last page, what we have down here bring it down. This here is the overall total grand budget. Okay. Why you see zeros, Town Administrator Budget Committee, they have no right to say anything about the school. The school does it for themselves. They lie, deceive the people. Their fear-mongering of we can't teach the kids. Out of a $41 million budget, $36 million goes to salaries and benefits. $36 million goes to salaries and benefits. Or no, excuse me. 74, 70, okay, about 27, 28 million goes to salaries and benefits. Not to teaching the kids, because we know it doesn't take a $50,000 salary a year for a teacher that after vacations only works 142 days a year, if that, to teach kids and demand the kids accept that there's 66 genders, God don't exist, government is the ruler over all, the earth is 250, the universe is 250 billion years old, we all derive from a proverbial soup, and our ancestor is an ape. It doesn't, $285 billion is spent in America a year for higher education. RSU 57 is very good proof that, well, why we're number 26 in the civilized world. America's educational system is not that great. They don't get truth anymore. They get a liberal agenda for a socialist utopia that don't exist. And they want more and more and more, just like the town. And right here, fiscal conservative, huh? Well, let's get rid of, slide it all the way over because we don't need these first ones. But right here, when you go back to 2014, 2015, 4.9 million was the town, and 7.6, just under 7.7 million was the school. 12.59, 12.6, say, round it up with all of this. Now you come over here, the very next year, 15 to 16, we went up 500,000. The school only went up 100,000. Okay? The following year, actual budget, 5.7 million. So we only went up 300,000. And the school went up 300,000. Now the school went up another 300, little over 300,000, because of course, like all public sector, the unions in the school, as the old union in the town, that the townspeople now claim that they're fiscal conservative because we don't have the union, but they still stick to the same totalitarian golden parachute, so to say. They get their raises and their big Cadillac healthcare plans and pensions all paid for by you. But you look right here from 2016, 2017 to 17, 18, where we are right now. Ladies, we only went up a couple 100,000. And the school went up 300,000. But you see what the trend is. 12.5, 13.2, 13.7, 13.8, 14.3. Now here's the big one. And here's the big one that they're claiming to be fiscally conservative about because they overtaxed us. The state caught them in the over-evaluation of the property to get more money to lower the tax rate, to lie to you, the mill rate, but now they're not raising the mill rate, but they raised the mill rate, so my evaluation of my house went down, but my taxes went up. And that was a joke to Dennis Abbott. And of course it's a joke to anybody else in the town hall that don't live in this town, Gary, and so many others that get the big benefits of what the union gave them, and you continue to give them freely of your conservative heart of others' money. That's the key. Fool. Damn fool. So here this year, because they're spending $800,000 of money that they already overtaxed out of you, and while we're being fiscally conservative because we're not raising taxes or we're not cutting taxes, we're blowing smoke up your ass, Dennis, right? Is that what you're doing, Dennis? You're blowing smoke up our ass like you did with your toxic waste pit with your signature all over it? That's yet to come back and get you. But that's for another day. So here we go. So this year here, from 5.9 to 6.4. So you see how the town is jumping in increments that the school's not. This time here, the school barely went up. About 160, 70,000. About 190,000. And our town went up, what? A $500,000. Right, we went up a $500,000. So that's how we caught up in the percentages because as you see, there's no fiscal conservative in from 2014 to 2015 to this proposed year, this year right here. Look, 12.59. That's 12 million, just under $12,600,000. To now this year, $15,029,000. You see what we're saying, ladies and gentlemen? The whole thing is a ruse. When I sat in that town hall for 6 years, it was clear. They spend more of their time worried about how to lie to the people and sell their agenda to the people so the people will buy it. It's the same way we had a project here on the old Elford Road that would have taken care of the drainage and everything else that they created with the middle school. We had it 80%, almost 90% funded by a grant. And the town screwed us because Dennis Abbott wanted to hide his toxic waste pit that's got his signature all over it. See? That's pathetic. And now they're talking, ladies and gentlemen, just so you know what they're doing this year to try to butter us up. Their capital improvement, it's going to happen no matter what. It's either going to come in David Benton's slush fund, or it's going to come in the upgrade roads part of capital improvement. The old Alford Road, entire length to shim, overlay, and shoulder as needed. $260,000 total with DOT paying 50%. See, they don't want you to know, where does the state get their money? They tax you for it. So the state that spent $1.6 million to resurface the old Elford Road 3 years ago, that the town refused to shut the trucks off, and it pounded the crap out of it and tore it up, and then the town started putting patches on like they did this year in February on frozen ground here. Let's try to kiss up to the people on the old Alford Road, and we'll go out there in February and put a bunch of patch on the road that'll end up in their front lawn by spring, while it actually ended up on our front lawn and in our driveways within 2 weeks, the next time the plow went by, the next time it snowed. That's the foolishness, Gary, we're sick of. That's the common sense that's missing. It's missing in our schools. It's missing in our towns. See? Sidewalks that they never took care of in the first place, they want to replace. And then they want to bring back, looking at the old Alford Road project out here, that now, well, the millions would have to come from you guys and from us, the taxpayers, because, well, when it was funded, they decided to reword the question so nobody realized, so Dennis Abbott could sit there and laugh. Ha ha ha. So his corruption, with his signature all over it over here in the toxic waste pit known as the middle school, won't be on earth. But Dennis, it is. I don't have 6 inches of documents from the 60s to right up to today proving Waterboro's corruption and cover-up. But it's going to come out, like I warned you 7 years ago. That's just how the ball bounces, dude. And now one other quick thing I want to hit on. See, this is the ballot, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be to the term of this. And what the problem is what they're hiding within the planning board, within the tax assessor, within the library, within recreation, capital improvement. See, capital improvement, that's all most of the people. You need to know. You need to go back to this other document over here, ladies and gentlemen, and you need to examine exactly what is in that you're voting for, because these articles are very deceiving. We need to shut the heavy traffic off in the old Alford Road and stop wasting hundreds of thousands of dollars that is turning into millions of dollars, Gary, on top of the millions of dollars the state's already spent over the years. I've been here for 21 years. You've been here for what, 5? And you don't even live here. You live over in Sanford or Springvale, one of those cesspools that liberals created, that you're turning our town into. Just look at it. Look at the county sheriffs that we have around here. What a joke. What a joke. $200,000 for 2 sheriff's patrols. Yeah, how nice. For what? Keystone cops with a badge. Excuse me, but that's all they are. That's okay. Remember the Constitution, boys. You can overlook the Constitution all you want, but that's bad news. Bad news to do so. But you really do. You need to look at what they have here, what the breaking down really is. Install water main from elementary school to the central station. When they had the chance to do it, they didn't do it. They were too busy overtaxing us. And now we just seem to have a $3 million surplus that just appeared out of nowhere. That just keeps seeming to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. Because their fiscal conservatism is just non-existent. About like what? Well, Gary, 7 years, podcast, preaching, teaching, proving the truth in the Bible. Not what people want you to know today. Not, sadly, what our churches are teaching today either. And definitely not what you're teaching. The truth will set you free. And that's what I've been doing around the globe for 7 years. It's that simple. No fake Christian here. I will call you out. And I have no problem doing it. Those of filthy lucre that render unto Caesar that which is ours, not yours. Not Foglio's, not Abbott's, not Woodsom's. Ours. All of this is just ridiculous. Especially now you're looking sidewalk on the old Alfred Road again. You're ridiculous. See, all of this, ladies and gentlemen, all of this. You're trying to pat yourself on the back for something that never should have happened in the first place. That these trucks should have been shut off years ago. And it should have been done right in the first place. You go after the state and you say, no, you're going to do it right. And oh no, like always, you talk big, Dennis, but you're actually just a wimp. You don't stand up for Waterboro. You whine when you might have somebody going 40 miles an hour. And you waste the Keystone Cops' time hanging out on your Deering Ridge because you just can't handle it. And the last thing I think in this, ladies and gentlemen, we have to look at, this great lady Donna here, she's been writing great letters in this propaganda newspaper. I can't believe that she's at least getting printed. Kudos to you, girl. Because many people don't have much luck unless, well, of course, Mr. Parable over here that, well, it's more of an insult than it is anything. You see, the left is good at one thing, and I'll show you. Jack Seary. Jack Seary's been an activist for the Socialist Party of America in town for a long time. He's the one that spearheaded the Friends of the Library, the Waterboro Library, that wanted to go over here into the toxic waste pit and put the voters and the taxpayers of Waterboro on the hook for the Taj Mahal of elaborate convention center library on top of the toxic waste pit beside the middle school. And, well, I did play a part in getting that destroyed and turned down and ended. But he's right there all the time. And this doesn't make any sense. You know, his little parable of how these people nurtured. What did you nurture? Did you nurture all this buddy-buddy system and corruption in town of, what, you mean the toxic waste pit over here, Jack? The toxic waste pit that finally Dayton Sand and Gravel got tired of owning, so they sold it to Foglio for pennies on the dollar, and Foglio made a killing and all kinds of money by giving it to the town, to the school system, to build a middle school on top of a toxic waste dump that is a known toxic waste dump because, yes, I have all the documents. I have it all. See, that's the thing. You want the Superfund number? Harass me in a harassing email again, like you like to do there, Gary, and, well, great. I'll send you the Superfund site number so you can see and possibly start to know what I know, that Dennis Abbott's hiding. But this maple tree stuff, this is pathetic. He's saying that somebody just came onto your private property and cut the tree down. Well, who does stuff like that? Eminent domain? Town? The road commissioner that doesn't like a tree in the corner of your lot that happens to be by a road and a stop sign, and well, he gets the right to go in and cut it down, and the town gets the right to do it. Is that what Jack's talking about? That he's afraid it's getting torn down if we just walk in and cut down the maple tree without even knowing what is wrong? Just like Donna said, and it's beautiful. Where is it? Let me find it here. See, he likens these arguing against various articles as trying to tear it down. But how do we know that it was a healthy tree? That maybe it needs a bit of pruning, or it has root rot. I certainly would cut it down. I certainly wouldn't cut it down, I certainly wouldn't cut it down, but I would want to make sure that it has a healthy future. The budget meetings were recorded for all citizens to view, in which you should see what they're saying, because there's a lot of stuff coming out of the selectmen and Gary Lamb that is very telling, that I'm telling you right here, they're lying to you. They're stretching the truth. They're deceiving you with deceptive language and wording, and just believe us because we're here in authority. If you don't question authority, you get China. Not the constitutional Republic of America with the Second and First Amendment. Basically, the second is what we need right now. When they tell you you don't need guns, you need guns. When they try to take your gun for your protection, that's when you need to buy guns for your protection. History taught us that a long time ago. But this complex document, Jack, give it up, okay? We understand you love big government. You love big socialist utopias that don't exist. You love being able to take from others and lie to them while you're doing it. We showed you 7 years ago we're not listening to you. We're not listening to this steering committee. We're all done. You guys can play the game you want. We'll continue to say no to these convention centers that we don't need. We don't need convention centers. They need to stop wasting money. And if you want to fix the library, then spend some money and fix the library instead of these little patches like you're doing on the old Alfred Road. Well, you try to convince the people we need more. No, we don't. With the days of the internet, who uses books? I use my Bible. I love my Bible. You guys, I don't see it so much. But Jack, look at the common sense. They're bragging, fiscal conservative, because it's only about $20, $10 on the 100,000, right? $20 for the $200,000 home. That's $800,000 from revenue, which was overtaxation in the first place. If not, it would have been $200. Ladies and gentlemen, my little home here on the old Alfred Road with a half acre, I've gone up 300-400%. I'm over $2,500 in tax a year. This is pathetic. These people are pathetic. in their valuations and their foolishness. And you saw in this other document, Jack's afraid that those parks, he wants his name on something like some of the other people in town have gotten. That's what he wants. That's how the secular humanist runs in the world today. They feel they do not believe in God. If they do believe in God, they have no inclination of what the true meaning behind God and what the true gospel and everything is. They don't know because it ain't coming from the churches. That's clear. They want to be remembered. They want to be idolized by the next generation. Well, for many of us, we're sick and tired of the idols. We we had we had a Muslim socialist that hated America through corruption forced onto us for 8 years in the White House. You can think what you want. You can be as lazy and as worthless and as victimhooded as you want. But in closing here, this is bad news. This all needs to be shut down. This is not what we okayed last year for when we got rid of the town hall. These articles were to be put into a ballot and we could go line item. If we do not want your worthless capital improvement, they lump it all together so it's what the government's good at. Here's what is needed, but here's what we want. So we're going to put the two together, and if you want to get rid of the socialized medicine that has destroyed the healthcare system in America, well, that's okay. We're going to take away all of this as well, because we're going to make the public hurt for not bowing down to us. And that's what all of this is. The budgets are going to go up, the taxes are constantly going to go up, and they're going to laugh and love every minute of it because they don't see it. Because they voted themselves a 2.5% raise every year, and they automatically tell themselves that, well, you're out there telling your private sector employer that you're demanding a 2.5–3% raise every year. You're going to go find a job somewhere else. Well, you know what he's going to tell you? Go ahead. Go. Go find a job somewhere else, because where are all the jobs? Everything's in China now. Along with your trash, your recycling, and your schools over here getting awards for putting their recycling, but the recyclables are going into the trash. And if you do happen to listen to this far, Gary, if you can stomach it this far, I have pictures of one of your guys in a compactor. Huh. So until the next time, ladies and gentlemen, sorry, Jack, but your parable don't fly. I'd much rather use the parables that Jesus brought forth with true meaning and fully. This is a joke. This is a cry for attention that, well, we're not biting. Goodbye. And Donna, thank you. Very good. Keep up the good fight, and maybe someday we can hold Tim Neal accountable and he can be the person that he said he was going to be in the future. So, on that, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say think and be informed, and I'll put more out on different things. So, goodbye for now. This is No Way.